Backcountry camping and hiking in a virgin rainforest without trails was amazing and grueling. We didn't see any of the almost extinct devils, but we ran across the skins of enough poisonous snakes that, after 3 days, I was thrilled to climb down the mountain and head for Brightside Farm Sanctuary, the other purpose of our visit. Located in Cygnet, Tasmania, Brightside was founded by Emma Haswell as a place where rescued farm animals could have the rare opportunity to live full lives in a natural environment. As we drove through the sanctuary's farm gate, we saw lush green hills speckled with grazing cows in the distance, and arrived at a large barn near a house. Stepping out of the car, I was warmly greeted by 2 camels, 5 pigs, a turkey, and 10 dogs. The sun was shining, and everywhere I turned there were animals, all happily wagging their bodies or tails. Alex had volunteered to photograph the animals and to donate the images for use in Brightside's promotional materials. While one of the young camels leaned against me, Emma explained that she'd rescued them from a livestock sale yard where they were being sold, along with healthy horses and donkeys, for meat. I stepped aside, and Alex snapped a few pictures of the cooperative camels. Then Emma took us into a pasture, where Deborah and I visited with the largest cow I've ever seen, and Alex laid down in the mud at the edge of a pond and took photographs of a smiling pig. Next, Emma walked us to a fenced pasture, where a friendly black horse trotted over to say hello. As I rubbed her forehead, Emma said, "This is Rosie. When I found her in a meat pen at the sale yards, she was a bag of bones. I could hear her stomach rumbling from 4 pens away. I'd never heard a horse's stomach rumble, and I walked over to see what the noise was. She was standing there with a little boy. The boy was wearing glasses and standing outside the corner of her pen. He had his arms through the bars, and the horse had her head resting in his arms. He was singing to her. I left and came back 40 minutes later, and she was still standing there, with her head resting in his arms, and he was still singing to her. I walked over and said, 'You like that horse, don't you?' He said, 'Yes, I want my family to rescue this horse.' I said, 'Don't worry, I'll make sure the horse is safe.' When the auction started, I outbid the meat buyer and brought Rosie home." Like most advocates who rescue abandoned and discarded animals, Emma says the work is frustrating. Her happiness comes from the animals, such as Flossie, a big white woolly sheep, who, when I met her, was lying in fresh hay, her back against the barn, her eyes closed, and her head tilted toward the sun. Emma explained that she takes Flossie to schools as an ambassador for all sheep and lambs. "The animals tell their stories better than I can," Emma says. "We've met with over 50,000 school children together. Flossie gives them the opportunity to know, touch, and connect with an animal they typically only know as meat." Alex called Emma to have another photograph, and I sat down with Flossie. I placed a hand on her soft forehead and massaged it. Her eyelids fluttered, and I told her she was a good girl. When I stopped, she opened her eyes and smiled at me, imparting her gratitude. My morning at Brightside was what I imagine heaven to be. Green pastures, with hundreds of animals of all species, happily living together with full comprehension of the gift they've been given, to live with a human being who represents the kindest of her species. In addition to Brightside, Emma is creating sweeping changes for millions of animals in her home state. Her quest was born from witnessing negligence at a time when she was helpless to end it. Ross, Tasmania, Australia. The first animal I had a relationship with was a little crossbred dog called Minnie. She looked a bit like a monkey. Her hair was brown, wild and wiry, and she had 2 rows of teeth on the bottom. I'd dress her up in clothes and put bonnets on her, and she'd lie on her back in the pram while I wheeled her around my grandmother's garden. She was gentle, patient, and kind. She was everything to me. I I was raised in the city of Launceston, Tasmania.